Welcome to Inland Empire Alive, bringing you issues, events, and perspectives from throughout San Bernardino and Riverside counties. I'm David Brady, and on today's show, I'll discuss emergency preparedness and extreme weather with San Bernardino County's Crisanta Gonzalez. That's today on Inland Empire Alive. Well, joining me now to talk emergency preparedness is Crisanta Gonzalez, the director of the San Bernardino County Office of Emergency Services. Well, Crisanta, welcome to the program.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, yours is one of those roles where you train and prepare, and you hope that you are never needed. That must be an odd kind of position to be in.
You nailed it right on the head. That's exactly what we do. Our department works with other county departments and local groups and our residents to train to what's called the Emergency Operations Plan, which is a large overriding plan. And we have what's called annexes, so we might have like an earthquake annex or a wildfire annex, things of those nature. And so we review those plans and then we train to those plans so that we could never use those plans. That's exactly right.
Give me an idea of the scope of your office in terms of the things you prepare for. Because we were talking before we rolled, and it's more than just earthquakes, it's more than just fires, it's more than just floods, it's more than what we think of as Mother Nature.
It really is. We have what's called either man-made hazards or natural hazards. And so we try and think outside the box. So for example, prior to the pandemic, no one in the world had thought that there would be a global pandemic that would shut the earth down, right? That wasn't a thing. So there was no plan in anyone's emergency operations plan, or what we call an EOP. It just didn't exist. But now I can probably guarantee you that every jurisdiction has an annex for a global pandemic in their EOP, because we need to understand, what does that mean? Does that mean policy changes? Does that mean that we have to purchase more equipment for people to work from home? So it completely changed the way we look at our planning cycle. So we have to think outside the box if we have large scale events, such as things at our Glen Helen Amphitheater. What does that mean? Does that mean it's an opportunity for an attack such as the Boston Marathon? So we have to think outside the box. An Ariana Grande type of incident where someone brought in a backpack with an incendiary device into her concert. So we have a lot of big concerts in our jurisdiction. We are the largest county in the United States. So we have to kind of think outside the box when we're reviewing our plans and thinking, okay, what's happened in the world and could that possibly happen here?
Well, you anticipated a question I wanted to ask. Is San Bernardino County's size a particular challenge? Not only just the amount of territory there is to cover and how far-flung services can be, but as you say, we do still have a huge population here. We have the proximity to, Southern California, Orange County.
Our neighbors are some of the largest populated jurisdictions. We're neighbors to Los Angeles County, we're neighbors to Riverside County, we're neighbors to Orange County, we're neighbors to Mono and Inyo County. And so our partners, we work closely with them. So we have tabletop exercises, full-scale exercises to practice what should happen if it's a cross-jurisdictional. So we're in constant communication with them as well, and we practice. Our plans align similarly, so we try and be very neighborly and think of that. So it's not only the fact that we're the largest by square miles county in the United States. We have 2 million residents who are geographically very different. Our mountain region is completely different in their needs for emergency preparedness than our valley. Our Ontario's versus our Big Bear is very different versus our 29 Palms who are in the desert and who face other challenges. So we have to, as a department and as a county with our county departments, kind of understand what those needs are for each of our residents.
How has emergency preparedness evolved over the years? Certainly, like you say, there's been more and more incidents of extreme weather. There's been more and more, acts of violence. There's been, we seem to live in a much more unpredictable, chaotic world.
Yes, it was in the past that you would call the fire department, or you would call your local police department, or in the county level, your sheriff's department. But what we found in emergency management, what's been found from the national level on down, is that you need someone to manage resources so that the firefighters can fight the fire and the law can do what it does as a law entity. So that means another entity needs to come in and help organize What about animal sheltering? What about human sheltering? What about other needs? So that's where emergency management comes in, and that was identified a few years back. And so we've grown as a career to see we're kind of organizers, and so we manage the incident so that the responders can do their job at the field level.
In San Bernardino County, where are the greatest risks right now?
We're actually, according to the FEMA index, we're actually rated 99% for all of the risks except for tsunami and I believe volcano. So we're actually lucky that we get all the risks. So we have an oddball risk, which is we have a lot of the corridors for transportation. So we have a lot of the railway, we have a lot of the highways. So I don't know if you're aware, but we were the very first ones to have a lithium battery catch on fire on one of our highways.
Yay.
Yay us. I know, we were the lucky
Well,
first.
I mean, is that a good thing in the sense that, well, now you've had an active live event, you now know, are you better prepared the
Yes.
next time it happens?
It's a training again. So back to we actually didn't have a plan for that. So it's a real training because it wasn't our jurisdiction. It was a state jurisdiction. It happened on a state highway near a state rest area. So that didn't matter. At that point, we were all partners in it. So it was a county, state, everybody was all hands on deck and we worked seamlessly together. So California Highway Patrol, the Sheriff's Department, my department, we were working together to how do we best serve our residents, Caltrans, all the way up to Sacramento. Everybody came in together and joined our coordination calls in my department and thought, okay, what are the issues? What are the resources? What other resources do we need? And how can everybody pitch in and support? So it was, again, a training exercise so that the entire state could learn from it. So I'm very proud of the way San Bernardino County responded to it.
We'll be back with Crisanta Gonzalez, the director of San Bernardino County's Office of Emergency Services, right after these messages.
The City of San Bernardino has implemented a new low-cost sidewalk vending program in hopes of expanding opportunity for community members to start sidewalk vending safely and lawfully. We want everyone to have access to the economic benefits that sidewalk vending brings, but we want to make sure that our sidewalk vendors know the do's and don'ts when it comes to our city. We must make sure that vendors are keeping our residents safe by following general health and safety standards and by following all city rules. Like, did you know to legally sidewalk vend in the City of San Bernardino, you'll need a seller's permit? What about the $1 million general liability insurance that you are required to have? Don't let this scare you. When all is said and done, the cost of the annual permit will either be $64 or $154. We want to help in every way we can when it comes to vendors lawfully running and growing their small businesses. But those who operate without the proper permits can and will be cited. Citations can run anywhere from 100 to a misdemeanor, and repeated violations can result in the confiscation of items needed to sidewalk vend. We do not want this to be you. So, if you have any questions or concerns regarding the new sidewalk vending program, please call us at 909-384-5035, where staff will help you navigate your way to becoming a safe and permitted vendor in our city.
If you'd like to be a guest on Inland Empire Alive, email us at guest@iealive.com. Well, I'm talking earthquakes, fires, floods, extreme weather, all kinds of things that require preparedness with Crisanta Gonzalez, San Bernardino County's Director of the Office of Emergency Services. How can people best prepare? And I know that's sort of a giant question, but what is the first step? What is the first thing people should start to think about?
That is an excellent question, David. They need to get to know their neighbors. As simple as that sounds, you need
and
to
that
understand
may seem
that.
very intimidating to some people.
It's actually more intimidating than it sounds. How many of your neighbors do you know?
We say hi to
Yeah.
a few.
Right.
You know.
You go out, you wave.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, you drive by and you wave. So it's important that we get to know who our vulnerable neighbors are, especially, so that in the time, if you live in a hazard area, you should know what your hazards are around your home. So you should know if you're in a fault zone, you should know if you're in an inundation zone where you perhaps could be affected by debris flow or mudslides. You should also know if you're in a fire hazard zone. And if you are in any of those zones, you should really get to know your neighbors, especially the vulnerable ones who maybe can't evacuate or maybe can't get out to get the supplies they need to shelter in place. So that's what I would like to ask your viewers to do first is get to know your neighbors. Find out who your vulnerable neighbors are and then help prepare. We have our website, which I'm sure you'll be sharing at the end of this segment. And at that website, we have sample checklists so that they can either prepare their go bags, which is a bag that we would ask that you be ready to evacuate if necessary. And that includes your pets, that includes elderly, special things for elderly family members, or if you have large animals, a plan on how to evacuate your large animals, or if you have to shelter at home if there is an earthquake and we want you to shelter at home so we can keep the ingress and egress routes open for our responders. Can you stay at home for 7 days? Do you have everything you need to stay at home? So, you know, do that with your neighbors. Plan accordingly with your neighbors, whatever that looks like. Is that an apartment building? Is that a mobile home park? Is that your block? Whatever that looks like, have those conversations. And then also with your own family, have a communication plan. Do your kids, do your family members, do your brothers, sisters, parents know if something were to happen, this is where I'm going to be, this is how we're going to get a hold of each other.
We may not have cell phones, so
We may
let's
not
not
have cell
assume
phones.
that we can text each other, you know,
Yeah,
instantaneously.
or if you send that text, it may take a couple hours before it gets through. So have that communication plan, have that plan of where we're going to meet or what's going to happen and who's going to take the dogs and who's going to load up the car and who's going to go get mom and dad and where we're all going to huddle. So my first recommendation would be to get to know your neighbors and then have a family plan. Those are the two most important things. And then go to our website. We have many examples of
Well, let's give
kits.
out that website. Let's make sure people know
Sure,
what it
it's
is.
oes.sbcounty.gov.
And I wanted to ask, are there places people can sign up for alerts so that they're getting up-to-date, reliable information?
Yes, that's excellent. We have what's called in this county the TENS system, Telephonic Emergency Notification System, and our website has that link so that you can fill out your profile. It's very important that you fill out the profile so that if we need to send out a geographic location, we have your address so that you are getting the right notification for you. And we also have other instances where you can support your neighbors. And if you don't mind, I'd like to bring those
please.
up. It's the Community Emergency Response Teams. So that is an opportunity. It's called CERT. Our acronym is CERT. And so that's an opportunity for you to join other members of the community to learn basic first aid and basic response skills. And we're also going to be implementing a new phase to that, which is we're going to be drilling. We're going to be actually doing exercises. We're going to be pulling these CERT teams and actually showing them how to respond until first responders get there. So if there is an earthquake, we will train you on what to do, how to form groups, how to form teams, how to check your neighborhood and stabilize your neighborhood until first responders can get to you. So it's an exciting time to join a CERT team, and we encourage everybody to go to our website and do that.
Well, let's make sure we give that website address again. It is oes.sbcounty.gov. During an emergency, whether there's an active emergency, is there a different place people should think about going?
So that's a great. During an emergency, the county has prepare.sbcounty.gov, and that is where all agencies can go. So even if my department is not active, whichever department is leading that event or that incident has all the information there. That's the main county website. So we encourage people to go there and get information. You can also sign up for TENS notifications there. It's very important that you get your notifications from a trusted source. So we want to make sure.
You know, in this age of social media
Yeah.
and misinformation and drones and deep fakes, you know, how
Right.
challenging is it to keep up with, you know, someone saw something and put it in their Facebook group?
Right. We encourage our residents to reach out to their valued partners, whether it's the fire station or the sheriffs, to give us information on what's going out in the community. That's absolutely encouraged, and we encourage them to build those relationships with their local fire and sheriff or local police and fire. But when it comes to information about evacuations, please sign up for our notifications, for the TENS notifications, or go to the Instagrams for Sheriff or for OES. For our Instagram, it's ReadySB, so you can find us there. But we highly encourage you to go to a trusted, vetted source when it comes to evacuations, because it's very important that you and your family stay safe during those times.
So we want to remind everyone to make a plan, get to know your neighbors, be prepared. Crisanta, again, thank you so much for being on the program.
It's my pleasure, David. Thank you for having me.
Visit iealive.com.